India is an entire subcontinent. There are entire like places that are as big as states that are basically third world, and you're talking about a fucking fucking neighborhood. Kyle.
Oh, not a neighborhood. Like
so
many parts.
Literally,
in every state, there's a sketchy bit where there's like a huge homeless population. San Francisco, if you go to like the south of San Francisco, all you see are tents and people like. When we were in San Francisco, we drove by because you had to get to the airport, and there's just police picking up dead bodies because people just die of starvation because they can't afford food.
Kyle.
And the lines for food at the free soup kitchens are too long. That's third world living. Yelling at me doesn't fix anything, Sean. I'm not yelling at you. You're just being a net jackass.
The government gives out food stamps, dude.
Okay, but what if you don't have a form of identification? You can't get food stamps?
Then that fucking sucks!
In that situation.
What do you mean?
A lot of people.
If you're an illegal immigrant, then, like, it's illegal anyway.
No, not an illegal immigrant. What if you're just born into abject poverty? And you, like, weren't born in a hospital?
You can still get identification.
If you weren't born... Maybe you could, but how many people don't? Because they don't know how, or they just don't... Like...
Bro, like, that sucks.
It's not, like, common knowledge. Yeah, it does suck.
Well, a lot of things aren't common knowledge, but people still do it.
A lot of things are common knowledge and people don't do it.
What do you mean, Kyle? Kyle!
No, tell me why I'm wrong, Sean.
Kyle!
You're just screaming, Sean.
You make me want to constantly die.
Okay.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Alright.
You're saying part of a city is third world.
Okay, but if you take part of a city... And that's like 12 cities in every state. That's like...
12 cities in every state, Kyle?
Yeah, I'd probably more than that in some states. Detroit and stuff, there's some major cities with the huge populations that are just... The entirety of the city is abject poverty.
That does not happen that often. Kyle, that does not happen.
I think you're just looking outside of your window because it happens a lot more than you might expect.
Kyle, we live in the country where the least amount of people in the entire world die from starvation.
That doesn't really...
Our government gives out free food to people who cannot afford food.
There's some people who can't afford food.
Okay, Kyle, if you don't have identification, then that sucks. You should probably just get try and get a job and get food for yourself.
Those people...
Or get identification.
How do those people, Sean, how do those people live? Do they live in a first world country?
I don't fucking know.
They do, they might, but they don't...
They do live in a first world country, because the entirety of America is categorized as a first world country.
I'm just saying, Sean, some people live in third world conditions, even in America. It's dumb to say that a country is, like, all of its first world. That's really dumb to say.
Oh, Christ, Kyle.
Hey, banging your keyboard doesn't help you, Sean. I'm just saying.
Kyle, I'm gonna look up percent homelessness.
Okay, what does that prove? What about the unregistered homeless who don't have...
Kyle, you don't need to register as homeless.
I know, so how do you know how many homeless... Do you think there's trucks that go...
You go out into the fucking street, you count it! You go, there's a homeless guy, and then there's another goddamn homeless guy.
So there's somebody's job is just to count up the amount of homeless people?
I don't know.
If that is, if you get paid for that, fuck yeah, I'm down.
Okay.
I appreciate you listening.
In January 2018, 500,000 people were counted as homeless in the United States. 500,000. Do you know the population of America?
Okay, so those 500,000 people live in...
500,000 out of...
So that doesn't mean anything, Sean.
40,
I'm just saying that...
50 million.
I'm just saying there's a lot of people in this country who live under third world conditions.